And hello, everybody. Welcome to a Monday edition of Sports Wrap Daily. I'm kind of going solo today. Daryl Harris is off, so I'm filling in for Daryl here on a Monday, a busy Monday, of course, as it is through the weekend. We all watched the NFL draft beginning last Thursday, ended on Saturday. Raiders got their 10 picks. They had the number one pick. Everybody's talking about Fernando Mendoza as that top pick for the Raiders, and really the class of the NFL draft this year was the Cuban from Indiana University that won the Heisman, won the national championship, took his school to a school record, undefeated season. So he was Mr. Everything, and now he is a Las Vegas Raider. You know what's interesting is they brought him out to town the following day, and they had all these number 15 jerseys that were for sale. People buying the number 15 jersey, Fernando Mendoza jersey, and I can just imagine when the fall rolls around and Allegiant Stadium is packed. Now, hopefully he gets a chance to play because he'll probably be learning behind Kirk Cousins, but we'll see what happens with Fernando Mendoza. Mendoza mania is real. The fans love it. For the Hispanic community, of course, Las Vegas, the Raiders certainly are, and to have the Cuban as their quarterback certainly is going to be a big, big highlight coming up as they get ready for the season. Now, we can only hope that rookie minicamp, which rolls into action this Thursday, here in Las Vegas, you got Mendoza and all these other rookies, and we'll talk about that. But Mendoza, of course, the class act, the number one guy. He came to town, talked about his family, his mother, the big inspiration she was, the grandparents, just a real good family guy. Here's one thing you got to remember. No other success can compensate for failure in the home. This guy went to had a terrific home upbringing with his mom and dad, and of course, his mom has the illness. They couldn't be at the draft on Thursday in Pittsburgh, so they did it at home in Miami. Had lots of friends in town, and it was a pretty cool scene. All of you Raider fans who watched that, of course, can testify how cool that was just to see his family there, the friends there in Miami, as he was the number one pick. We're going to go through all these picks. Of course, you know the big story, Mendoza. We've talked about that a lot, but let's talk about some of the other picks that happened. The number 2 pick, Trayden Stukes, the guy out of Arizona. You see him on your screen right here, the safety. A real cool story here because he kind of came from nothing. Here's a guy that coming out of high school had no, you know how they have the, a 1-star, a 2-star, this guy a 3-star, a 4-star, a 5-star recruit, 24/7. 0 stars coming out of high school. He actually walked on at Arizona, so they must have seen something. Hey, he has some athletic skill. So he walks on at Arizona with no high school ranking. As a freshman, put on 30 pounds, became bigger, strongest, a little 170-pound guy coming out of high school. So he puts on the weight, starts getting noticed, and then had a terrific season in 2025, had 4 interceptions, really played well, 4 picks, and he actually even missed 2 games. So there's the number 2 pick, Trayden Stukes from Arizona. And so that's going to be interesting to see. I like those underdog roles because he'll have a chip on his shoulder for sure coming in here. A lot of people with the pick number 38 thought, well, that was a real good pick by the Las Vegas Raiders. And, of course, and then we move to round 3 and the next pick for the Raiders, and this is on a Friday. You see right here, Kieron Crawford, the Auburn defensive end. Here's another pretty cool story. Didn't start playing organized football until his senior year. So he was a basketball player, focusing on basketball. First year of football, though, made quite an impression. When you think of what he did, coming out of high school, first year organized football, 78 tackles, 14 sacks. So here's a guy that like, whoa, who is this guy? Went to Arkansas State. Then, of course, he transferred, and as you can see on your screen there, ended up at Auburn, and now he's a 3rd-round pick for the Las Vegas Raiders, which is pretty cool with pick number 67. Also in that 3rd round, Trey Zune III. Now, Trey Zune III, Texas A&M guy. Here's another pretty cool. He comes from now just the opposite of some of the other guys. Now, this guy comes from a real big athletic family. All the family played, but he played basketball, he played baseball, and he was also a soccer player, Trey was. So then he started putting on some weight. Hey, maybe football is a good thing for me. So Pro Football Focus had him rated as 96.8 in pass protection. He led the SEC in pass protection, which is pretty interesting when you think they got this guy with the 91st pick, Trey Zune from Texas A&M. So he had 50 starts there. Just an interesting 3 picks there following Fernando Mendoza. So we're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to talk about more of these later round picks that you might not know so much about. You'll hear from some of these later round picks, and also the vice president of player personnel and the top scout for the Raiders. They kind of talk about two real interesting players the Raiders picked up, and all these national people are saying the Raiders' fourth round could define the Raiders down the road. Of course, they've gone, a quarter of a century with really nothing happening with this franchise. So maybe the fourth round, and throw in Fernando Mendoza. This might be the pick that this might be the draft that everybody looks back on and says, wow, that was the pick. That was the season 2025, 2026, we should say, was the draft that really turned the Raiders' fortunes around. So you'll hear from some of these guys, two real interesting stories in the fourth round, and that's coming up right after this break. And welcome back to Sports Wrap Daily. I'm Chris Maathuis, filling in for Daryl Harris today as we talk NFL draft. We went through those rounds 1, 2, and 3. Now let's talk about round 4, because this could be the big round for the Las Vegas Raiders down the future, because they got a couple of players that people are scratching their head and say, hey, how'd these guys last so long? Well, one of them is Jermad McCoy. Jermad McCoy from Tennessee. This was a guy that every single national person had this guy going in the first round. Some had him as a top 15 player. He is a cornerback. You can see it right there from Tennessee. Really athletic, very talented player. And he's one of those guys that people will look at and say, if he stays healthy, remember now he had the knee problem. He had an ACL issue with his knee, so he didn't even play last season. His last game was in 2024, but here he is now coming out. He also skipped the NFL Combine, by the way. So here he is now. Everybody skips on the guy for fear of the injury to his knee. And the Raiders trade up. They got this guy, Jermad McCoy. Let's hear what he has to say. Now, the Raiders held a little kind of a Zoom with all these lower round players to kind of get a feel for what they're all about. And here is Jermad McCoy talking to the press.
I mean, I feel good, but as far as like another surgery and all that, that would just be strictly based on what the team wants me to do. So whatever the team's plan for me is what I'll be doing.
So, did you go into this draft knowing that this likely could happen? So did you prepare yourself mentally that you might not go as high as you wanted to? And if so, did that kind of ease it a little bit, or how, or did that still difficult to deal with?
I mean, I was prepared for whatever happened, but I mean, I will be go a little to go higher for sure, because I mean, I had a good pro day, ran some good times, and just did good things like that. But I had a Zoom with them the day before the draft. So I mean, they kind of got on my radar a little bit. I was kind of thinking like something was up. But I mean, I didn't really have a clue where I was gonna go, to be honest. So I mean, it's just a blessing to get picked by the Raiders.
All right, so there he is, Jermad McCoy. Obviously disappointed. Anybody would be disappointed if you're expected to be a top round pick. But I like what he said here. Well, he will be prepared for whatever happens, whatever the Raiders want to do. They got terrific medical staffs now in the NFL here. Raiders certainly have one of the best. They'll look at that knee. They'll assess what that knee is all about, and then they'll just go from there. So that could be a big steal for the Las Vegas Raiders. Now, the other guy is Mike Washington Jr. Now, Mike Washington Jr. is a running back from Arkansas. This guy, his brother, by the way, and you'll hear from him in just a moment, his brother's a Marine. That's where he got a lot of his inspiration. Real smart guy. He's going to go back to school and get his master's degree at Arkansas. So, I mean, you talk about a pick at number 122. This might have also been a big steal in the fourth round. And here is Mike Washington Jr. talking to the press.
I know Kubiak mentioned before that he kind of want to have a wingman for Genty. So how happy are you to kind of join this backfield with him?
I mean, I'm super excited, to get rolling with him. All I could think of is thunder and lightning. So super excited to, be the, 1-2 punch with him and, to really, like I said before, be a sponge and learn from him also at the same time.
Mike, this is Hondo Carpenter. Congratulations on making it to the NFL, but you are not only compact and tough, but super fast. And there is a lot of reports about your 40 speed, all of them exceptional. What is the best that you've ran the 40 in?
So that was my PR time was at the combine. So about a week and a half before that, I ran a 4.34, and I had PR'd at the combine with a 4.33.
Hey, Mike, Jesse Merrick with Silver and Black Sports Network. I'm just curious what it is about your skill set that you think fits into the scheme that Kubiak's going to be running here with a lot of that wide zone looks and stuff like that.
Well, coming from a pro style offense at Arkansas, I've been able to we excelled at wide zone, also inside zone. So I have familiarity with it. So I believe that I could come in and really that would be my advantage would having a familiarity with running wide zone at Arkansas.
What was it about Arkansas that enabled you to kind of, break out and really find yourself last year as a player and excel in the way that you did?
I believe it was a maturity thing, understanding the game more, the ins and outs of it, and really just being detailed about what I need to do. And what I mean by that, obviously, inside zone is inside zone, but really taking it a step further on who I need to read, what are my steps looking like, how I need to, do my steps before I get the ball, who I'm reading. So things of that nature. I feel like once I dove deep into that, like the detailed piece, that's what made me really excel.
Hi, I'm Heidi Fang, Las Vegas Review Journal. Just wondering, when you look at Kubiak and what he's done with running backs, particularly like Kenneth Walker and Christian McCaffrey and Zach Charbonnet last year with Walker as the pairing, just wondering what you think about the styles of running backs and what he does with the position.
I think it just speaks a lot about what he can do. And my goal, like I said before, like my goal, I've been telling everybody, like I'm I'm looking to be a legend, and I'm gonna be a legend. So I definitely believe that he can, whatever he pulled out of them, he can do the same, with me also.
All right, there he is, Mike Washington. I'm going to be a legend, he says. Time will tell, but he certainly has the attitude, the smarts, the wherewithal to do all that. Fourth-round pick by the Las Vegas Raiders. Let's close out this segment with the fifth-round picks. Dalton Johnson. Dalton Johnson was picked 150. Now, he is a safety out of Arizona. His good friend was the Raiders' second-round pick, Stukes. So here's two guys that know each other very, very well. Dalton Johnson, the safety there with the 150th pick. Let's hear what he had to say to the press.
The next level.
Yeah, no, I'm super excited. That's my boy. We're best friends, and you know, being drafted is one thing, but being drafted to a team that I get to go somewhere with my best friend and continue this, bear down brotherhood. I'm super excited, and we're ready to take that leadership and turn Las Vegas up.
Dalton, this is Hondo Carpenter. Congratulations on your journey to the NFL. You have a unique ability. You are a thumper in the run game, but you also have the speed to cover slot receivers and tight ends. Would you just talk about that's a very unique skill set for how you play? Can you discuss that for us, please?
Yeah, I always say, I was brought up in football too late because, I love to hit. There's no more eye power, no more fullbacks. So, you just got to develop as the game goes, and it's changing to, more spread offenses. So I really had to develop my pass coverage side of the game. And, shout out to Coach Gonzalez, our DC at Arizona. He put me in great opportunities to allow me to expand my defense to that standpoint. And, like I mentioned, the game is changing, so I gotta be ready for it. And always had the tackling ability and just the physical side. So being able to showcase my ball skills and all that, just want to be a complete DB. Didn't want to just be put in a box as a run fit safety or anything like that.
All right, there he is, Dalton Johnson, the 150th pick, the Arizona Wildcat, with his good buddy being the number 38 pick for the Raiders. So how cool would that be to actually dream of someday as you're in college, hey, we're going to make it to the NFL. Both these guys drafted into the NFL. We'll see if Dalton Johnson can hang on, and even Stukes, if they can hang on. You got to figure that he has a real good chance. The safety for Arizona, that second-round pick. Finally, in the 5th round, Hezekiah Maathuis. He is also a cornerback. This guy is from California, the California Golden Bears. Now, Hezekiah was the 175th, and the media also had a chance to talk with this guy.
The interaction, it was smooth. You know, we had a couple of Zooms, talked with the cornerback coach, man. We just had a couple interactions that they went good.
Sorry, Sam, go ahead.
Hey, Hezekiah, welcome to Las Vegas. You had 18 pass breakups last season. Can you just talk about the ball skills that you have and what you can bring to this secondary?
Oh, yeah, man, I just feel like my IQ and my instincts when I'm out there on the field is just unmatched. So, ended up last season with 18 pass deflections.
Hezekiah, just to follow up on that a little bit, what changed for you at Cal? Because you were productive when you were at FIU, but at Cal, obviously took it to another level there.
I just say that all season, man, I just got bigger, stronger, and faster, man. So I just feel like when I was out on the field, that would just help me improve my game my last year.
All right, there he is, Hezekiah Maathuis, a California cornerback. There were some players on the team that played with Fernando Mendoza before he left for Indiana. Of course, Mendoza played there with the California Golden Bears. So it was kind of interesting to hear what Hezekiah had to say with some of the teammates who have played with the Raiders' top pick, Fernando Mendoza. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we'll wrap up rounds 6 and 7 for the Raiders, and also from the national publications, the national voices out there. What kind of grade are they giving the Raiders? I can tell you this: a lot of A's from around the country for the Raiders draft picks here in 2026. We'll take a break. Come back right after this. All right, busy weekend, of course, for the Las Vegas Raiders and that staff as they get, they actually went through, look at this, they went through 3,926 reports to come up with 10 picks. Those guys were extremely busy trying to get these players and get all the right players in line for this draft. And now let's talk about round 6 and 7. In round 6, you had a guy named Malik Benson with the 195th pick. Now, Malik Benson, a wide receiver from Oregon, so he also had a chance to watch Fernando Mendoza because they played as conference members. So this is what Malik Benson had to say about to the press about his drafting to the Las Vegas Raiders.
You're entering a team that just took Fernando Mendoza with the #1 overall pick. I know you played against him this year with Oregon and Indiana. I just want to know any impressions you have of him or any memories that you know of that game, just watching him.
Yeah, so man, the memories, I let them go out the out the window, once the game ended. But now, I was able to, speak with him for a little bit at the combine, and just me being able to talk to him for that 10, 15 minutes, I just realized how humble he is, bro. And it's just like, he obviously he works super hard, but past football, he's just a great person. That's just, I can't wait to be, alongside teammates with some guy that, with a guy like that. So it's gonna be super exciting, it's gonna be super fun. I can't wait. Obviously he got the best of Oregon, those 2 times, but shoot, we're gonna be able to put those aside, and we're gonna be able to, have an electric year this coming up year.
Hi, Malik. Levi Damien from USA Today. I know you started out at Alabama or a community college, Alabama, Florida State. So you moved around each year. What would you say that you found at Oregon to have the breakout season that you did?
Man, I just feel like at Oregon, I was playing with super confidence. And shoot, when you're out there with super confidence, I feel like nobody can stop me. And, just being able to carry that mindset over to this next level, man, it's going to be super fun to show what I could do.
All right, there he is, Malik Benson, wide receiver, Oregon, now a Las Vegas Raider, picked in that 6th round. The final pick, the 10th pick, the Raiders had all these picks. Brendan Cleveland. He is a offensive tackle from North Carolina State. And now Cleveland, first guy from North Carolina State the Raiders have drafted, and he goes in round 7. This is what he had to say to the press following his pick by the Raiders.
Yeah, I think I just care for the guys in the locker room. I'm gonna get there. I'm a new guy, but I'm gonna love everybody and care for everybody in the locker room, and I think that's the most important thing, and I think that's the best thing I bring to the table, just being a good person and caring about everybody.
Hey, Brandon. I was reading your bio. It said you put on nearly 50 pounds when you rolled at NC State. So, like, you slid around the defensive line. I'm just curious your experience playing, multiple positions along the D line there.
Yeah, I've played freaking every position on the D line, and I think I found what I'm best at, which is nose tackle, and I'm just ready to get after it and get to Las Vegas.
Awesome. That looks like it. Thanks so much, Brandon. Really appreciate your time.
Thank y'all. Nice to meet y'all. Y'all have a good one.
All right, there he is, the last pick for the Las Vegas Raiders, Brandon Cleveland, the offensive tackle. The guy also played baseball, but he says he gained so much weight, became such a big player, over 300 pounds, that he had to give up baseball and take up some football. So there are the picks for the Las Vegas Raiders. Some of the people that you might not hear so much about, those later draft picks, some really cool guys. It seems like they did a lot of work. We mentioned over nearly 4,000 reports to get 10 players. They did their homework. And let's go back to that fourth round for just a minute, because McCoy and Washington, the two picks in that fourth round, were really kind of surprising to a lot of people. And the director of scouting for the Raiders, Brendan Jorgen, and of course the vice president of player personnel, Brandon Hunt, talked about those two players in particular, and this is what they had to say.
Confidence was not a problem. We felt good about it at where we took them, and it was an opportunity to get value. This is probably arguably the best corner in the draft, and we feel like we have great people and a great process to make sure we get the best out of this player.
Yeah, I was just going to echo that. I have a lot of confidence in the player, and our medical staff is outstanding here. So just to echo what B. Hunt said, Alex Guerrero, Chris Cortez, our doctors, we'll have a great plan in place for him. And like you said, he's a high-quality person and football character makeup too. So,
Are you guys anticipating? He told us on the Zoom call that he's leaving it up to you guys to determine whether he needs additional surgery on the knee. I was wondering, have you guys made a decision on whether he will get another procedure?
Yeah, so right now, before he even gets with our people, we didn't even get that far. We have a great medical staff, like we said, Cortez and Alex G. We're going to get in the building and make all those decisions. But right now, we're really excited about celebrating this kid and getting him in the building. He's 20 years old. He's twitchy. He's fast. He's a cover guy. He's got some punt return skills. And we're really excited to see what he does. And the future's bright for this guy. That was the thing that.
All right, and it seems like the future is bright for the Las Vegas Raiders, of course, with that number one pick and the excitement surrounding him. And you got the coaching staff now, the assistant coaches. Just it seems like there's some real confidence and direction with the program here and with the franchise. Before we send it out before we close the show, I wanted to really kind of go through some of these national guys and kind of tell you what they had to say about the Raiders picks. You got Mel Kiper from ESPN gave the Raiders an A grade. He talked about, outside of Mendoza, round 4 could define the rest of the Raiders draft, and we talked about that a lot. He says that he kept McCoy, the guy that they were just talking about, at number 29 despite the knee issues. So Mel Kiper had him still at number 29. Nate Davis from USA Today gave the grade for the Raiders an A. He talked about trading Stooks, a second rounder. That was a pretty good steal, he says. And of course, and he also talked about Gerard McCoy and just how kind of they lucked into that one, and Mike Washington Jr. also in the 4th round. So a lot of people talking about those two picks for the Raiders and giving them a high grade. Chad Reuter from NFL Today gave the Raiders an A-. He talked about the Raiders received, here I'm going to quote right here from Chad. The Raiders received a 4th round pick from the Texans to move down just 2 spots in the 2nd round at number 38, where they selected Stooks, a very versatile physical defender with excellent speed. Crawford fits in well with the Raiders in that 4-3 scheme, they say, and they talked about with trading Tyree Wilson away, that was a big deal. So Pro Football Focus, an A-. They talked a lot about building the Raiders offense, and it was ranked 31st. Now with all these new players, it could be a lot higher than that. And Pete Prisco from CBS Sports gave him a B+. A B+, he talked about Stooks. He says he was a steal in the round. And 3rd round edge Crawford was also a steal, has some real pop there. And Gilbert Manzano, who used to write for the local newspaper here in Las Vegas, now writes for Sports Illustrated. He covered the Raiders. He gave the Raiders a B. 24 seasons without a playoff when he talks about with Mendoza and the Raiders' future, the Heisman winner, it looks kind of bright. He also said John Spytek took a big swing in the fourth round on McCoy, whose knee scared off many teams. However, if healthy, he hasn't played since 2024, says the Tennessee corner could be a first-round talent. So there you go with the picks. Don't forget the Las Vegas Raiders the Vegas Golden Knights in action, taking on Utah Mammoth. That's going to be a big one. And tomorrow it is Aces Media Day. We're out of time, but thank you very much for watching. We give the Raiders all these grades. We'll see how it all pans out. Minicamp for the rookies starts this Thursday. Thank you for watching, everybody. We'll see you back here again tomorrow.